uh, 92 is one of our stalwart, long-lasting, and wonderful peace groups. But Helen and Jerry were last here in 2016, and they stayed at my place. They stayed at Brenda's. I mean, it was like a totally different world. It was before COVID and all the rest of it. It was before their long voyage back east. This was one of their first voyages. So it's just great to have you back, and we're really looking forward to seeing you live. Our chapters down in Olympia and Tacoma will be having you live, so people can meet with you and talk even more than tonight. But I wanted to thank you, and Jerry also, Helen, for the presentation that y'all did last week. Veterans for Peace had a Zoom program that Helen and Jerry did that's wonderful. So if anybody is interested in getting the recording of that, you can ask Helen for it. You can ask me to forward it to you. That was wonderful. But in any
our
case,
Guatemala program?
No, it was your basic program about the imminent threat of nuclear war, and
yeah, okay.
sobering issue. Very good program. So it's great to see everybody here, and I don't want to take up a bunch of time with announcements. Just know that Jean Buskin sends out announcements at least at times like this, maybe more often than twice a month, but and so many events are happening. August 6th, of course, is our Hiroshima to Hope lantern floating. And Helen, I hope you and Jerry are here by now, are here by then. Let's keep our fingers crossed that everything will kind of smooth out by then. And Michelle and Kim as well. So it'll be fun to float lanterns with you, and that'll be live as well. So FOR members, you'll be getting, you've already received in Jean's calendar information about various activities, but the main one that we're sponsoring in August is the from Hiroshima to Hope, and then later in the month, just a few days later, the live programs with the Golden Rule in Olympia, Tacoma, and Point South. So with that, we usually go till about 8, and we'll look forward to having your presentation from 3 members of the crew. And Helen, if you could introduce, I'm going to introduce the first one, and that's Helen Jaccard, whom I've known for years. And Helen, if you could introduce the other 2 members of your crew.
I'd be happy to, thank you. So I'm Helen Jaccard. I've been the project manager of the Golden Rule since she first launched back into the sea June 15th in 2015. And so as time went on, it became important to share some of these duties with someone else. And of course, we get lots and lots of volunteer help. Nonetheless, as you develop a project, it can be a lot of different tasks that seem to be a good idea. And so now we have Michelle Marcinet, who I usually call, or sometimes call, Kanoe Lehua. She's part Hawaiian, and that's why she's got this Kanoe name. And she learned about the Golden Rule when we sailed to Hawaii in 2018, and her uncle, Captain Kiko Johnston Kitazawa, was asked to help us find somebody to sail from Hilo to Maui. And he couldn't do it that day, but he helped us find 5 great people from the sailing club there that did that. And so he's been involved since then, and I think Michelle's known about us since about then. And she got to sail with Captain Kiko from Hawaii to California on this long 30-day miserable voyage that I am so grateful that they made it home safely to California. And so Michelle is the most enthusiastic, this is my dream job person that I've ever known as part of this project. So I'm really, really, really delighted to have her here. Welcome, Michelle. And we also have Miss Kim. Kim is her last name. We call her Shik Cho. And so as you may know, in 1958, the Golden Rule sailed towards the Marshall Islands to try to stop nuclear weapons testing. And in the early part of the 1970s, this group of people was sitting around a table and they wanted to stop underground testing and thought, well, let's get a boat just like the Golden Rule and just sail it up to Alaska and see what we can do. So the Golden Rule inspired the founding of Greenpeace. Well, when the Golden Rule was in Hawaii, it was our intention to sail on to Guam, Okinawa, and Japan, and possibly to Korea, China, Russia, Vietnam, all the places over there, especially the places that have nuclear weapons, on a basically citizen delegation mission for peace and nuclear disarmament. When we were ready to leave Hawaii, we were stopped by COVID.
Oh.
And that's why we brought the Golden Rule back to California, is that it looked like it could be a long time before we could accomplish our goals. We thought it would be better to maintain her in the meantime in California, where most of us live. Well, in the process of thinking about going to Asia, this man, Brother Song, contacted us and said, please bring the Golden Rule to Korea. And we intended to do so, but we couldn't. So Brother Song bought a boat, fixed it up, learned how to sail it, and he and Shik Cho and 4 other people did a 107-day voyage from mainland Korea, South Korea, to Jeju Island, where she's from, and to Okinawa and Taiwan. And she's going to tell us about that story. So now we can say that the Golden Rule has inspired yet another peace boat, Jonah's Whale. The first thing I would like to know, could you just show your hands? I need to know whether it would be a good idea to show you the film about the history of the Golden Rule. It's called Making Waves: Rebirth of the Golden Rule. So if you have seen it, either the 10-minute or the 25-minute version, would you please raise your hand? Significant numbers of you have seen it, and it looks like about half of you have not seen it. I think what I'd like to do first then is just show you the 10-minute version of the film. And so I'm going to share my screen in a way where hopefully you can hear the audio. Share the sound and share my screen. And I apologize. I've been struggling trying to get a newsletter out and was not successful. I'll keep working on that. Okay.
This is a very small vessel with a big mission. We have to use the Golden Rule while we're here to show our resistance to militarism.
One of the 5 principles, founding principles of Veterans for Peace, is to end the arms race and ultimately seek the elimination of nuclear weapons. This boat is an icon for that because it represents a different way of thinking about how to do protests. Just like that. Okay, you can go ahead and rock.
Really, it's a dream come true for me. It's a dream come true to be able to be a part of this movement that began before I was born.
August 6th, 1945, the first atomic bomb ever to be used against people was dropped on Hiroshima. And August 9th, again on Nagasaki, a different kind of bomb was dropped. At the time, Albert Bigelow was in the Navy. He was a 30-year Navy captain. He was in Pearl Harbor at the time that these bombs were dropped. And it was so horrific to him that he quit his Navy commission a month before he could have retired with full pay out of protest of the dropping of the bombs. His family, a Quaker family, later hosted the Hiroshima Maidens, who came over to New York for plastic surgery, reconstructive surgery, so that they would be in less pain and could lead a more normal life. The United States continued to develop newer, bigger, better bombs, and there were a whole series of atomic bomb tests in the Marshall Islands. They were producing elements that don't exist in nature. One of those elements is strontium-90. It acts very much like calcium, and it was blowing all over the planet. And because it acts like calcium, it was getting into our babies' teeth and bones as they were growing. They were getting into mother's milk and cow's milk, and women were testing their milk for radiation before they would feed it to their children. So because of all of this and the major concern about radiation poisoning in our atmosphere, a group of Quakers decided that they wanted to do something about it. And they started the way you would normally start to try to change something. They wrote letters to the editor, they wrote op-ed pieces, they demonstrated in the streets, they wrote to the president, they tried to call their members of Congress. They did everything feasible to try to stop the nuclear bomb testing. Ultimately, they weren't successful then, and they decided they needed to escalate in their tactics. So they decided to get a boat and sail it into the testing zone and just put their lives in the way of the nuclear bomb tests. So Albert Bigelow bought the Golden Rule and sailed it out of San Pedro near Los Angeles. We want to help the public understand that there are other ways to deal with potential conflicts with other countries than to declare war or even threaten war, or even for our country to be constantly preparing for war. We spend over half of the IRS income tax dollars on war.
What's happening is that all the nuclear powers are developing their nuclear weapons, and the U.S. has recently committed itself to $1 trillion over the next 30 years to modernize and actually create some new nuclear weapons that are smaller, more tactical, more usable, to make the possibility of a nuclear war even more thinkable is what's happening right now. They maintain that they need nuclear weapons for their whole security strategy, but you know, what kind of strategy is that? Mutually assured destruction. And the very real threat of a nuclear war between North Korea and the U.S., with our President Donald Trump threatening to totally destroy North Korea. And of course, North Korea promising to respond in kind. So it's a very, very dangerous situation right now. As we sail on our voyages, we've had 3 years now, mostly on the West Coast. And we're always running into people who are either new people on the crew of the Golden Rule or on the sister ship, Phoenix of Hiroshima. So there's a lot of history there. We run into like Quaker activists who say they went to their first demonstration when they were 7 years old, when their parents took them to a demonstration to free the crew of the Golden Rule.
So they got to Honolulu, they resupplied, and they were headed to the Marshall Islands. Well, the Coast Guard cutter brought them back.
And they ended up putting the members on trial and convicting them of a number of violations that were ultimately thrown out. So that attracted nationwide attention and worldwide attention ultimately.
During their trial in Honolulu, another boat appeared at the same dock, 2 slips down, the Phoenix of Hiroshima, captained by Dr. Earl Reynolds, who had just spent 3 years studying the effects of radiation on children in Hiroshima. And they heard the story, and they attended the trial. And they were so moved by the bravery of these men that were going to put their lives in danger to stop this terrible arms race. They decided that they would take the baton and they would go to the Marshall Islands and put their own lives in the way. And when they got into the atomic testing zone, the Coast Guard caught up with them and arrested them and sent them back to Honolulu for trial.
What that protest started was a worldwide protest against nuclear atmospheric testing, resulted ultimately in the signing of the Partial Test Ban Treaty of 1963. It also spawned the founding of Greenpeace and other activist organizations.
Bigelow sold the boat, the Golden Rule. After the Golden Rule was sold in Honolulu, nobody heard from it for decades. And then in 2010, she was a derelict boat floating around in Humboldt Bay, and she sank in a gale.
The boat disappeared, but we found it in 2009 in Humboldt Bay.
Leroy Zerlang had his crew pull her up into his boatyard. He was going to burn her. So she faced a watery grave, then she faced a fiery grave, and then Humboldt Bay Veterans for Peace and Quakers showed up and they said, "Leroy, we think we want to restore this boat. Could you give us a year in your boatyard? And we want to rebuild this boat." They relaunched it June 15th, 2015. Then we took off July 20th. We stopped in 10 different ports of call. Our second seasonal voyage, 2016, we went all over the waters of Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia, where we were able to give 23 educational presentations.
We've been specifically sailing in support of the United Nations Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, which just passed last month or so, 122 to 1 in the United Nations General Assembly. So it's a very exciting development.
If you love this planet, you will sign this treaty. Nuclear weapon has always been immoral. Now they are also illegal.
I'm really excited about the Nobel Peace Prize being given to the International Coalition to Abolish Nuclear Weapons. So what can you do to help stop the possibility of nuclear war? What we're doing about it is through education. You can join our team. You could be an author, a speaker. You can donate. You can get involved with helping organize events and helping other people.
Well, the original mission of the Golden Rule was to take bold action to stop nuclear bomb testing, to stop nuclear war. And so we've decided to head for the Pacific, where the action is at this time. We're planning to go to Hawaii, where the crew originally went, to Honolulu, and they're also facing real threat and fears of nuclear war in Hawaii right now, where they've just resumed a whole statewide alarm system for the event of incoming nuclear weapons. Then we're going to go on to the Marshall Islands, where the original crew was headed. The Marshall Islands continues to suffer from the results of all the nuclear bombing that was done. There's a very high cancer rate there. From there, we would head to Guam, to Okinawa, and it's from there that bombers are flying over the Korean Peninsula. Then we want to go to Japan no later than 2020, when they're going to be commemorating the 75th anniversary of the horrific U.S. nuclear bombings of the civilian populations in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. If possible, we may even sail the Golden Rule right to the Korean Peninsula with our message of peace. It's time to sail this little boat across the Pacific once again to put ourselves in the way of nuclear war.
So this film was made in October of 2017, and Michelle will catch us up with what's happened since this film was made. She has a good PowerPoint presentation and will share her screen with us. And this is the first presentation that she will have given, I believe. Is that right, Michelle? You're muted.
Let me fix that. Hey. Yes, this is my first presentation. Thanks, Helen. I do have slides up to a certain point where if we didn't watch the film, we would have gone over them, but the film pretty much covered those. So let me get in there and open my screen and get that shared, which
Thank
I haven't done
you.
before.
Yay.
Any chance that is on the screen for everyone?
Doing good.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I'm not used to this view, so this is the slideshow that has been prepared, and I'm just gonna kind of click through it because um, here we have the beautiful boat, which I love seeing. I'm really in love with the magic of the boat and what it's been able to accomplish, how it pulled me in and said, come sail this boat, come see what's going on. This is really important stuff. So most of the stuff we've already covered. The fact that the Golden Rule Project does implement this for peace statement of purpose is such a delight to go out into the public and talk to people about. They're very good talking points to restrain our governments from intervening overtly and covertly in the internal affairs of other nations. Wouldn't that be nice? And to end the arms race and to reduce and eventually eliminate nuclear weapons. Something, a dream that I was born with. And then, we like to talk about the voyage that happened in 2016, 17, 19, and 22. It's been a pretty busy boat. I've had a really hard time keeping up with her. She's been very busy, but when she came to the Hawaiian Islands, I was there for my grandfather's 90th birthday, and my uncle Kiko said, "Oh, you should call Helen Jaccard. She has this boat that you might be interested." As he was introducing me to his other captain friends and their boats at the different marinas as part of his ability to help tour people through the islands. My grandfather was the executive director of tourism for the Big Island, so it was a very interesting dichotomy of this part where it's aloha, come and be a part of it, yet hey, get your military out of here. So it's of a very interesting family history in Hawaii, and so I did get to bring the boat back, and she did make it almost all the way in one piece back to San Francisco. And there's me with my uncle and the Captain Melinda and Nolan when we did return. And we were very happy to return. I would have stayed out there for a long time on that boat because it was really great. But there was work to do. And that boat needed to make the Great Loop, which is an amazing story in and of itself. I would have volunteered. My uncle did get to go on quite a bit of that journey. And as you can see, they got to do a lot of presentations. They got to visit a lot of cities, and they got to reach a lot of people, which is amazing. I was in the middle of having now, so I'm really excited to go out with the boat again. And they were able to capture so many great pictures of their tour out. there's my Uncle Kiko just having a really good time. And I've seen some other things that people have done, like Passionate Living did a video with Kiko. It's just a really sweet video, and I feel like the presenter was just enamored with him and his presentation in the boat. She was like, "Yeah, I'm ready to crew. Let's go." So he is very enthusiastic about the boat as well and the mission. And they got to go to Cuba, which is another. I mean, I can go anywhere and say that this boat went to Cuba, and people are just like, "What? You got to go to Cuba?" I'm like, I didn't get to go, but the boat went, and I'm gonna just keep trying to do whatever I can with that boat for the rest of my life. So I'm very passionate about making sure this boat gets to keep going in any form that we can. So here's the entire delegation from land to sea. So I think some people came in by air to join them in Cuba, which is very great to see that. They got to do, blockades, and these are the sort of things that I'm looking at now as we plan our adventure to the Pacific Northwest, which is where I'm at. I'm in Eugene, Oregon, and I'll just be going up the interstate to visit with everybody and make sure everybody has their places to be so that we can hit as many programs and protests and places of peace and a lot of peace parties we will be doing. So getting to see these slides with what they were able to do on the Great Loop is just a real treat. I'm not sure if other people have seen this before, but I'm glad to get to go through them again really quick with you guys. High school students, Black people sailing, we want to be as inclusive as possible. It's such a great mission when you see people like this all coming together. And people of faith. So when we have peace in our hearts, I feel like these pictures really represent what we're able to accomplish when we do things together and we have a piece of history that has been leading us the entire way. So when anybody can come and help or be a part of it, it's such a welcome. We do attract quite a few performers and activists, so it's really fun to get to see who has already been performing. I've got to watch some of the videos where people are singing these songs, and I haven't had a chance to participate, but I hope everybody comes out and gets to see the Golden Rule while we are in the Pacific Northwest. I'm looking forward to learning these songs and getting to be with these people who've been doing this for a lot longer than I have. We fly the sails whenever possible. I really like this slide because when I first saw those sails, I thought this has to be the thing that the world needs. And I'm very glad to be a part of it. One of the things that I've been trying to focus on is the mayors and the city councils who welcome us for, with the proclamation. It's really nice to see that so many cities have already welcomed the Golden Rule, and people have taken the time out of their schedule to say that their community is important and the people that visit their community is important. And to me, that's how activism works, is when we work together for a common goal. I love seeing these flyers that they were able to produce while they were on the Great Loop tour. We are busy trying to get flyers out now for our voyage to the Pacific Northwest. And as everyone might know, we are a little behind schedule, but my days have been filled with just kind of trying to rearrange and get events posted so that everybody will know where we're at and when we will be there. Here are some of the places that they were able to see. And I hope people get pictures too. This is really nice. I've had the opportunity to organize a lot of the pictures from the past, and it's really meaningful. This looks like what they were able to do on their Great Loop. So just, community stuff, what's happening in your community is what's important to us. That's what we want to be a part of when we come see you. And it does seem like there's so many parts of this of our lives that it touches because of how much poison has been put out into our environment for our, for all of life. It's a lot. So we do try to get media coverage. I'm busy trying to figure out all the places where we want to have coverage. So we want to make sure that when we come see you in the Pacific Northwest, that we can have a good turnout and people know, because the media has changed over time, and some people just use online stuff, but my parents like to get the paper, and there's different ways that people can be reached. So in an attempt to be inclusive, we try to reach more people by just making sure we've got all of those bases covered. And of course, the United Nations missions. Lots look at this, all this stuff that we've been able to do. This is such a great picture. I hope that people are thinking about where this boat has been and how historically relevant it is still today. That's such a gorgeous picture. I really want to know who took this picture too. I don't have any notes on this picture, so that's really cool. Helen has behind her the Golden Gate Bridge. That's a really cool picture. And then here's some of their loop tour. So people have made nice pieces of art with it. So we've got lots of sponsors. So we do work with a lot of different people who co-sponsor our events, which is amazing. I'm getting to learn all of these teams of people who are so like-minded that it baffles me that I haven't seen such a huge amount of change in my lifetime. I mean, I have seen a huge amount of change in my lifetime, but the amount of people working on it, like the people in this room today are the people that have been doing it. Our physicians for social responsibility, entertainers, raging grannies. I mean, these are people who take this stuff seriously and have a good time too. So I guess this is kind of where we get into what we're going to be doing. This is kind of the sailing plan. I got this updated a little bit today. We've got an idea that we would like to leave on Wednesday, which would be nice. The captain is sending me messages saying, well, maybe Saturday. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to get in the middle of that conversation just yet. So as I'm trying to plan where we're gonna welcome the boat and the crew, I'm not really sure still when they will arrive. So here's just a little layout of some of the bigger things that we want to hope to get to. I do hope that we can be there by the 30th, but we might not be in until the 2nd of August. But we'll just keep going. We'll just take it from wherever we go. And I have this amazing mentor in Helen who has been doing this for so long that it doesn't seem to phase her that we might have to shift the schedule a little bit. And I'm over here like panicking because I really want to do a good job for the people who the boat is going to see and promote what you're doing locally. So this is a quick little outline with the boat festivals and the Hiroshima to Hope and the peace fairs. And, maybe we'll make it back to Eureka on the 30th. I'm hoping that we keep going down to San Diego and make it all the way to Peace, the Fleet Week in San Diego at the end of October. But I'm not really into having this boat rest too much, but I do know that she's going to need some time to recuperate after all of this amazing sailing that she's about to do. I inherited this slide here as well, and it did say 200 presentations. I'm not sure if Helen has given 200 presentations. I feel like it's
more than that.
Yeah, I think it's more than that. That's why,
Yeah.
I mean, I went through and I was like, we have at least 20 on our tour in the next 2 months that we will be doing. That's just a presentation. That's outside of all of the other stuff, but there are slides here. We will be protesting Fleet Week. I like that we call it Peace Fleet. I like that we will be gathering flotillas and people in kayaks, just to, make a bigger presence for our mission and to really make the statement about what we were there to do. We will be going right in front of these bases where they have damaged the water, the land, the air, all of our senses, really, when it comes down to the noise from the jets flying over. I mean, it's a really toxic thing that I'm looking forward to perhaps the next generation getting to detox from. And this one I'm really looking forward to. I added the register online because we want to take as many people out on this boat as possible. And this is just a list of the places where we already have guest sailing opportunities, where we've set aside time where our crew can take 4 to 6 people out. And I just encourage you to let people know and send them to our website. If you're unsure of that, just, in the chat or whatever, we'll make sure that you get that link. But it's right on our website to register to guest sail with us while we are there. In all, whichever location during the time we are there. But that's pretty much the way we'll go through it. Lake Washington, Lake Forest Park, Lake Union, Seattle. So that kind of gives you the overview of where we will be going in the order. We think right now, that's the idea. It's a boat, it could change any minute. And the boat tour. So we will make sure that when the boat is in the slips or at the docks, that it goes to the place where it's going to be seen the most. We definitely want this boat to be seen, and so we will try to get those sails up as much as we can and make a big to-do about the boat coming in. And guest crew. So this could be guest sailing too, but I think that we will already have like some people that we know that we need to get out there on the boat. So we might register them ourselves to come out if they're like, we want to sing on your bow. We want to, we have these things we would like to accomplish. We would like to do some videos. So keep those things in mind when you're talking to people about coming out to see the boat or even visiting online. We would love to entertain people on the boat. And when I say we do have quite a bit of help on the ground. So we will have people on the ground that can go do programs. We can divide and conquer. So we're not going to just be locked into just doing one thing each day. We have a full schedule. And I'm really glad about that, because the more people we can reach about these messages to support your communities, the better I will sleep at night for our future. And then, of course, the purpose, mass education. A lot of people who come work with the Golden Rule, I noticed that they have backgrounds in education. Well, yeah, because we want to teach people. I have a background in education. I taught preschool for 7 years before going into teaching in the other public sectors, which weren't quite as rewarding. So I'm really excited to be doing mass education under the idea of the Golden Rule. And it's really fun to talk to people about what opportunities there are for education and how we can be doing student-led education. What are the different things that we can do? And really, when the boat comes to you, what is it that you need? Do you already have an idea? If not, Helen's been doing stuff for a while, so she probably can give us some examples of things that you could be doing. But I find that most of the people that we've worked with so far, they know what they're doing, and this is just like an extra highlight of what we can do. And I know that the film talked a little bit, talked about the Nobel, did they talk about the Nobel Peace Prize being awarded to?
Yep.
I can, yeah. So that's really a sweet thing. Peace prize or no peace prize, that thing needs to be signed. I'm like looking at that every day, seeing if somebody else went ahead and signed it. We like to offer the cities or jurisdictions we visit a template to get their council to support it in a resolution. So if that's something that you're interested in, we've got templates for that, and we would love to help promote that in your community. Yeah, we banned the bomb. It is illegal. And I cried during the movie every time I watch it. I didn't raise my hand because I always want to watch it again. So I've got some tissue over here and I have to turn away when those pictures come on. It's it's beyond me that humanity has got to the point where somebody decided that was an okay thing to do with money. And for me, our money is our power. So always using my power to do the things that I want to see in the world. And again, we do get to work with a lot of local organizations who are doing the same thing, whether it be a boat or a committee or a committee working group. Um, a lot of people are on board, so to say, with this. So yeah, pursue global elimination in sole presidential authority, which is a really scary thing when we're coming into this. Oh man, what a day it's been, hasn't it? Presidential election coming right up. Ending the hair trigger alert. We've got to hear from lots of educated people about how that has worked in the past. So yeah, number 4, we do need to cancel any enhanced weapons. We don't need to spend our money on making these even more expensive. So we are going to prevent it. We will work on these actions. So this is also, I think this is a slide from Back from the Brink still. So we're using the same information. We're on the same page. We are engaging in our social media. We urge our elected officials to endorse the campaign. We urge yours as well. And then obviously spreading the word. I know my social media is a little bit eclectic, but every single day it's like this is the message every day. It's not wavering. And 2, work with other groups. Just because I am, I might have a certain faith or a certain political party that I have maybe wanted to work with. When we all come to the table, there's more opportunity for creativity. There's more opportunity to understand why people take certain actions, and that leads us to a conversation where we can affect change with each other if we are at the same table, as opposed to refusing to talk to people who might have a slightly different view. And then, of course, passing a resolution in your local government. So yeah, take action. This is a lot of information on this slide. Helen, do you want to talk about all of this take action stuff? It's quite a bit.
Right. I'd be happy to. So Veterans for Peace has a nuclear abolition working group, and they created a nuclear posture review. This analyzes the relationship between the other nuclear armed nations and the United States, and in a way that illustrates what has failed and the opportunities for bringing about treaties to disarm. And it's about 12 pages long. And we shared that when we were in Washington, D.C. We marched all around the halls of Congress, and every senator and representative received a copy of the VFP Nuclear Posture Review. There's a link to it here in this slide. And so you can take a look at that and see, like, why is it that North Korea and the United States decided to throw away what it was that would have led to nuclear disarmament on the Korean Peninsula, and what was it that caused, you know, that how did the U.S. contribute to the decision of Russia invading Ukraine, and what are the nuclear dangers regarding that? The nuclear posture review is very important. It also talks a little bit about China. Needs to be updated a little bit because the United States is attempting to start a war with China. They started with, well, maybe China shouldn't be creating military bases in the South China Sea. And that didn't catch on enough to start a war. So then it was, well, maybe China shouldn't have developed so far that they've got a strong economy. That didn't end up helping to start the war yet. Now it's, well, maybe if we stir up trouble in Taiwan, then the United States, the people will get behind war with China. So, but what does it mean to be at war with China? You know, potentially nuclear annihilation. So we have to understand what's going on, and so the nuclear posture review helps out with that. Wanted to know that there's several resources. Nuclearban.us is the ICANN group within the United States. They have some good resources on their page. The Back from the Brink, which is preventnuclearwar.org, they have some wonderful proposed actions that you can take. ICANW.org is going to do an entire week of action September 16 to 22. And the VFP Nuclear Abolition Working Group is getting all of the Veterans for Peace chapters templates so that they've got letters, sample letters to the editor, banners they can use, flyers, actions they can take, like appear at all of the nuclear weapons production sites, the research sites in the U.S. universities, shareholder meetings, and pension funds. So there's direct action that can be taken all over the United States to help people become aware that what they're doing could contribute to nuclear annihilation. There are three things in Congress that I thought were important to announce here, that the embracing the goals and the provisions of the Back from the Brink measures is HRS 77. Thank you. And there was a HR 669. This would eliminate the president's sole authority to launch a nuclear strike, which is one of the Back from the Brink measures. And that means that Congress needs to reassert their role, their constitutional role as the body that can declare war. Redirect military spending to meet human needs, HR 1134, and redirect nuclear weapons spending to clean energy and human needs, which is the Eleanor Holmes Norton bill. This time it's numbered HR 2775. Another thing you can do is ask your member of Congress to join, or any politician, to join the parliamentary pledge of ICANN. So there's a web address for that. And you can enroll your city or state in the ICANN Cities campaign. There's also the same thing for the Back from the Brink campaign. So there's some of the ways you can take action in your community to stop the possibility of nuclear war.
Thank you, Helen. It looks like I don't really know how to share my screen very well while I'm
You're
doing
doing
it.
fine.
I tried to do it, tried to add a chat with the link to the posture review, because I think that's a really good one to have. It is on our website, so but all of these links are
There's
very
a
relevant.
resources page on our website that'll directly direct you to these links, as well as materials that we have available as templates.
Okay. So are you seeing my screen? 'Cause I kind of
Yeah, we're
lost.
seeing your screen. You're fine. What's the next slide look like? Or is that it?
Yep, that's it. Take action.
Okay, very good. Michelle, you did a great job. I'm really happy with how far you've been able to learn about this project and take the ball and give a good presentation. And seeing this as well as you were able to put it together and talk about the slides means that I know that you're going to be doing a great job, and I'll help you fill in some of the blanks for places you didn't get to go.
Awesome.
Like when we visited the Marshallese community in Dubuque, Iowa, that's when Captain Kiko was dancing, for example. And we'll have Marshallese students aboard the Golden Rule when we get down to Tacoma, which is very exciting. So, you know, thank you for everything. I would like to give Shik Cho a chance to talk about her experience with Jonah's whale.
Thank you, Helen. And hi, I'm Sikjo from South Korea to here for participate for Golden Run as a crew. I have my PowerPoint and I like to share. Um, okay. Mm,
The button is at the bottom of your screen in green. Oh, you got it. Good. Great. Yay.
got it. Is it working?
Yes.
Um, so- I think
Wonderful.
okay. So I would like to share my sailing story from East Asia. And first of all, I have to introduce my village where I am from. I live in Gangjeong, is small village protesting against Navy base in Jeju Island, which is South Korea, southeast part of South Korea. And I would like to express our solidarity with the friends around the world who are fighting against military base and militarism. Gangjeong is located in Jeju Island, and this is an important military point in East Asia. So since 2007, as we proceed with the anti-military base movement, we thought that this movement would not only stop military bases, but also become a life and culture for peace. So we started to do the daily protest. So every day we have like morning peace play and human birth and mass. So that's why we live in Gangjeong still, even though the military base was completed in 2016. And the sea protesting is also a part of our peace movement. And so we have kayaking and some diving. And this coral photo was very important a photo from this ocean, and our yacht Jonas Whale, it was also an important sea protest, the part of the sea protest. So our first sailing project was named the Sea of Peace and Coexistence. It's 공평해, we call it as in Korean. And we departed from Jeju to Japan to Taiwan. And the crews or the people who lived in Gangneung and have been sailing and working together in the peace movement. So there is some meaning of the 공평해. It means the sea of peace and coexistence, and we have our Instagram address. You can look at it through the QR code. So this was our route, and we have 5 crews, and it's a little bit smaller than Golden Rule. So our route was almost 5,000 kilometers, and we tried to visit every single little island and try to connecting them. And we saw in the past 5 years, new military bases have been built on the island in the southwest of Japan. These bases are against China by the plan of US and Japan. So as the people of the island, because we live in island, we want to be connected by solidarity, not by the nationality. So we met the people who live there. We shared the story of each other's island and became a friend. So those photos are the site where did we visited. For example, we visited the ground zero of the atomic bombing in Nagasaki. And also there is some Japan weapon hangars built by Korean victim of forced labor. And Hashima is also built by Korean and Taiwanese victim of forced labor. And also there is military base in every single island. And also in Taiwan, we met some indigenous people who lost their land. So we have this similar culture and similar history. We've been occupied and stolen by their own nation. So we could connect it by some similar situation. So we have some solidarity between inter-island. So even on a very small island, people are working for peace. So we have connection and have been holding a camp called Solidarity of Island People Peace Camp since 2014. So, for example, this year, the camp will be started at Jeju. So every island peoples are coming together and share their stories. Yeah, and these photos are the place there where we've been to. And when we visit the place, we have a protest on the sea. For example, this is the protest at the Henoko, Okinawa military base. This is U.S. camp shop. So there is a U.S. military, and this circumstance is very similar to Gangjeong. So we have very strong connection with Hanoko people, and so we share our protesting and had protest on the sea when we visited there by Jonas Whale. So we keep trying to share our story because although a military base has been built, we lived in the Gangjeong village and continue to connect and have a peace movement. We have a school so that young people can learn sailing and theology with peace. I am a graduate of this school, and we have another new first semester this year. And through these schools and sailing, I learned how great the sense of being connected to each other is important. So, well, please visit our village anytime, and we will always welcome everyone. And we have another new second sailing project next year. Departed from 2024. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shikcho. And this is your first time presenting this in English, correct?
Yes, it is. Sorry for about my English.
Oh, please don't be sorry. You did a wonderful job. I'm so happy that you had a chance to do this today. It's a very friendly audience, and we're all very happy to hear from you and your story of another peace ship that was inspired by the Golden Rule. So, and we are all connected. You know, we used to say that the ocean separates us. Well, it connects us. And so the Golden Rule and Jonas Whale demonstrate that. So I'm very, very happy to have my two new people on board as presenters, and I'm so happy that we could be with you tonight for this. Thank you so much. And we can entertain questions as much as you like.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Helen and Shikcho. That was amazing because we didn't know that, you know, we knew a little bit about what is happening in Korea. We do, and especially the suffering of people in Jeju Island and the effort to not have that military base built there. We've seen presentations in the past of how beautiful Jeju Island is and how horrible it was and really criminal it was for that base to come in there and be built. So it's really reassuring to me to know that you all were not defeated by that you all have come up with a way to connect so many places. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. This is a wonderful development. Thank you so much.
So we have a question from call-in user number 1.
this is Michael. I think you're calling on me?
Yes?
Yes. Did you folks have a background in maritime affairs? Maybe grow up on or near a body of water, or have relatives who own small boats? Did you have a sailboating background before you became peace activists, or did you become peace activists first and then get interested in sailboats as a way to promote the cause of peace and to carry out nonviolent direct action against nuclear weapons?
I'd never stepped foot on a sailboat when I got called to be crew for the Golden Rule and be the public speaker. Michelle?
Yeah, I'm a whitewater enthusiast in the Pacific Northwest, so I've always had at least an inner tube to go down the rivers, if not a kayak or something like that, but mostly on the oars, not usually on a sail. But my family is in Hawaii, and my uncle Kiko definitely, my uncles all are sailors. My grandfather was a surfer. He liked to stay near shore. But I am a out in the water type of person. So it was a perfect matchup for me, because I do want to spend my life being passionate about the kinds of ways I entertain myself each day. And if I can do it, if I could be an activist for peace and be on the water, I will do the ocean crossing. I raised my hand. I said, I manage a law firm office, and I was like, hey guys, if I can do this, this, and this, I could be gone for this amount of time. So it was really important for me to kind of be in alignment to who I am, and that is the water. And it is together with both of them. And I really can't wait to hear from Chow too on her experience, because I feel like on an island you probably are near water a lot. So
I agree that water and peace are very relative, and I also grew up nearby the ocean, but I had no sailing experience before I participate as a crew. But since when I was like middle school student, I was part of this peace movement, and so the peace movement was started, and I participated, and we decided to do some sailing projects together.
There's a question for you in the chat, Sheik Cho, which was, I'm having a hard time getting it open here. So Sheik Cho, has the Korean government done anything to repress or stop your group's peacemaking activity? And have any of Korea's religious groups been supportive of your group's efforts?
Oh, yeah, we have many the government since when this village is chosen by the government, because we protest the government, so they will try to repress us, and still now we still having some tension between us, and because we're doing daily protest, so every day we have some tension, and some, like, for example, our Jonas were captain was at the prison before we starting sailing for 2 years, because yeah, 2 years, and we have many like religious group connected to us. For example, like of course Christian and Catholic Catholic, and some yeah,
Buddhist?
Buddhist, yeah, Buddhist also, and because we have some kind of pray like at the street because we have to stop the construction. So many religious leaders will visit us and did their pray for us. And until now.
Yes, and I didn't hear from Brother Song for those 3 years. I didn't even know for sure how long he would be in jail.
2 years.
Yeah.
I just I just am looking at Chi Chow's Instagram, and there's a picture of her on the Golden Rule, so I just am getting really excited to see that. So as she was going through her presentation, I'm so excited to hear from her about her experiences that I'm like trying to make sure I clock all of those places that she showed us in her presentation. So anyway, great picture. That's really fun to see. I'm going to share that everywhere.
I was surprised that you made so many different stops, especially in Japan. So in 2017, as in preparation for sailing to Japan, I did a 10-city speaking and listening tour there. That's when I learned the most about what's going on at Honoko Base in Okinawa, where the dugong, which is similar to the manatee, is very much threatened by the new base that they're building there. And there are a lot of people all over Japan protesting against that. But, the Okinawan people don't really consider themselves Japanese. I found out that the people of Jeju do consider themselves Korean. So that was pretty interesting, even though maybe some people still think of themselves separately. But this is what we're doing to all of the island nations, not just in the Pacific, but in like in the Caribbeans. I saw the same sort of thing going on in Puerto Rico. I saw it in Sardinia, Italy, on the island of Sardinia, which is there's a big lawsuit going on about the depleted uranium and chemical contamination there. So this is what the United States and NATO have been doing, and we need to do what we can to stop.
I think Louise Lansbury has a question. Louise, do you want to unmute and ask it, or do you want us to read it?
Well, my question was about the fact of U.S. Nuclear submarines. I mean, with nuclear weapons being based, right off, I don't know what part of South Korea, and whether you see that as, whether people in Korea see that as a good thing, or are there many people who are very upset about that?
Of course, we are very upset about that, but as you know, the North Korea and South Korea are still ongoing war. So, so there's a people who are thinking that we need some strong military. So they are kind of creating U.S. military, but especially these days, nuclear, like U.S. submarines or U.S. warships keep visiting Jeju and Korea Peninsula, and because of this, ships has a special special size and special way to go into the ocean. Many oceans are destroyed, and this also affect to North Korea. And North Korea is, if they heard about the US military, what they're doing, and then they react to military. So this we have been this tension always. So many people are very like we don't need US nuclear weapon submarines, of course. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much for your presentations. This is new to us, and it's great that we were the first to see these presentations. I love it that you trusted us enough to have your dress rehearsal here. And I'm proud of Fellowship of Reconciliation for having that role in our community. We don't need perfection. We need to build a movement, and we need to encourage the movement to interconnect. And I love that that's what you do. You interconnect places that we're never going to see. You've seen. It's amazing. And to see that the energy of people that you are meeting and educating and influencing is absolutely wonderful. So the good news is this is not the end. This is just the beginning. And I'll call on one of the folks from maybe Jean Gandil Estrada. Are you ready to describe what's going to happen in Olympia? If you could unmute first.
Yeah, in Olympia, we have a number of things planned and want to work with you to probably know a little more about how long people can go when they go out on a boat, and how we can get that organized. But what we have planned is on the Thursday, the 15th, the Fellowship of Reconciliation in Olympia is having, and the Coalition to Abolish Nuclear Weapons are having our annual picnic, and it'll be at Percival Landing at the Harbor House, a house there, and it's a potluck picnic. We'd like to invite your people to do that with us. It'll be that Thursday from 5 to 7:30. I believe there's another place, the Friends meeting is having a speaker from the Golden Rule at 6:30, so we'll kind of overlap there. And then on Friday, we have a peace vigil from 4:30 to 6 at Percival Landing. That is something that has been happening there for years, and are inviting the crew and people of the Golden Rule to come and vigil with us. And then there's a traditional coffee house we have called Traditions, and to have a gathering there with a presentation. So those are the things we have planned so far. I would love to have some groups of children get to tour the boat. I don't know how young of children you would want to take out on the boat, but we have a group of interns who are high schoolers who might be interested or know people who would be interested. So Helen, I should probably get in touch with you about that and see how feasible that seems. But we're just really excited that you're going to be there for a couple of days and want to publicize you and have a lot of people learn about the boat. This is boat country, and many people have a great interest in boats, and then many people have a great interest in peace. So I'm really happy to have you here.
Michelle has been working on our schedule in great detail to the hour every day.
Okay.
And so we're going to post a more detailed schedule of our Seattle, Olympia, and Tacoma visits, because we'll be there for a little while each time. In Olympia, it is the 13th we arrive. We'll be there all day on the 14th, 15th, and 16th. Is that right, Michelle? And then we leave on the 17th.
Yeah, we leave on the 17th.
There's plenty of time to come see the boat and go sailing. Now, the sailing opportunities, there's a sign-up sheet right there on our website. So it's easy to find, and there's, you just make your choice and put in your comments, like how many people are coming. Make sure we have your phone number and email address so we can get in contact with you and say, it's actually happening. The weather is fine. So, it's a boat, right? So we can't go out if it's a gale force wind, but we can take 4 to 6 people at a time, and we love to. So have people sign up that way. As far as boat tours, those schedules will be also posted very soon online, so you know exactly when we're having open boats. And as I think it was one of the Jeans said, we do have an overlap between the Fellowship of Reconciliation potluck and the Friends meeting in Olympia, but that's really not a problem, because we'll have 4 crew and somewhere between 2 and 4 other people representing the Golden Rule at all times. And so if you need to double book us, that's not a problem at all. We'll just enjoy the things we're able to do with you.
That's great. That's great. Looking forward to it. I hope, I know a couple years ago, my granddaughter tried to take a sailing class, and the smoke from fires in Eastern Washington was so heavy that they couldn't go out on a boat. It wasn't, safe breathing wise. So they had to have a classroom event. So I just keep my fingers crossed that this is a better year for that. So
Yeah,
it
I
was
would
really
like to.
difficult for a while on the Great Loop. When we were in the northern part, I think it was in the Great Lakes, those fires in Alberta were blowing their smoke all over where we were. It was hard for the crew sometimes to breathe.
Yeah.
Michelle?
I understand that there also will be here in Seattle an event at the Friends Center. Louise, did you want to announce that?
Yes, Dan has organized, or will be the host for a potluck at University Friends meeting in the social hall from 6 to 8. It's a potluck, and then there'll be a presentation on August 9th. So everyone is welcome to that as well. And I think they can visit the boat in the afternoon down at Ivers from, I don't know, is it 1 to 5 or something like that?
I think that's right. Ivers Salmon House, right. What we'd like to do is to be able to leave Ivers Salmon House in time to get over to the Kirkland Public Marina, and then transport the crew back across the water over to University Friends meetings. So that's why we want to leave Ivers Salmon House in plenty of time on August 9th, so that the crew can participate at the Friends meeting. Yes, thank you.
Dan, did you have any comments you'd like to make?
Well, yes, thank you. We don't know when the Golden Rule is going to get to Seattle at this point, and so the event that Louise was talking about on the Friday the 9th of August in the evening may be the main event in Seattle. So there's a flyer on Jean's FOR calendar. So you should look at that for August 9th and see more details. But it's an opportunity really to bring friends and family who don't know about the Golden Rule to learn about the Golden Rule that night. We'll have presentations from the crew and the film, I think, and some music. So it should be a great evening of learning about the Golden Rule. And it'll be a potluck as well. So bring something to share, and we'll have the dinnerware for plates and cups and silverware that you don't need to bring that. So also parking's a problem. So if you can take public transportation or come a little early to find a place to park, that would be great.
So thank you so much for being with us tonight, and we really look forward to seeing you for real and wish you the most safe and enjoyable and interesting voyage up. We'll really can't thank you enough. This is such an
Vivi has a question.
exciting and novel. Was there a question? Is there a hand up? I don't see a hand up unless somebody
Vivi.
has. Oh, Vivi, go ahead, Vivi.
Yes.
Okay, Vivi, can you unmute?
No, yeah. I was just going to say that from what I understand, that you're going to be at the Theophos Waterway in Tacoma on the 13th. And there's going to be a peace party there. It's not put on by Fellowship for Reconciliation, but I know David was part of planning it. So so that should be fun too if you're from Tacoma.
Yes, Dave Didamore and Sean Arendt and Stephen Christie and Marilyn Kimmerling are all working on making sure that that's a fantastic party in the park. Yes.
Thank you, Vivi. Sorry if I didn't see your hand. Oh, Bob, there's a hand, Bob Dillestrada.
Hi, I just wonder if you could repeat the email address so that people who want to know the schedule, I can make that available.
Thank you. The email address is VFP, as in Veterans for Peace, Golden Rule Project @gmail.com. And the website is VFPGoldenRuleProject.org.
You'll have to give me that second one again, please.
Yes, VFP, like Veterans for Peace, VFPGoldenRuleProject.org.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
I dropped some links in the chat.
Wonderful.
For those too.
Thank you, Michelle. And we also have it on Jean Buskin's calendar. Jean, did you want to say anything?
Well, it's not Jean Buskin's calendar. It's Western Washington Fellowship of Reconciliation calendar. And our website is WWFOR, as in Western Washington Fellowship of Reconciliation.org. If you go there, click on calendar, and the calendar lists Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, and some other events. And thank you, Golden Rule people.
Okay, we'll see you there.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.